Hello and welcome to another edition of the RotorHub International podcast, coming to you live, well, almost live, from Verticon in Dallas. With me this afternoon is Riona Armesmith, who is Chief Technology Officer at magniX. Now, a lot of talk in the vertical aviation space about eVTOLs, and there's some very vocal aircraft developers who seem to be long on announcements and pronouncements, or as they say in this part of the world, all buckle and not much belt. On the other hand, you have the work that's going on down in Southern California by magniX, who are developing a range of electric engines for helicopters. And they've been actually out doing the real thing, flying the real aircraft. Riona, thanks for spending the time with us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So just for the benefit of the people listening, just walk me through the backstory of the development of the project and just walk us through that whole process.
Absolutely. So magniX is really a technology platform company. We develop electric engines. The FAA makes us call it an engine. So no motor or anything like that. You can only certify an engine with the FAA, so I use the vernacular electric engine. So we have a range of electric engines that we develop as well as battery systems. And essentially we electrify any and all platforms across the vertical and conventional takeoff space. So anything from Part 23, Part 27, we're kind of agnostic. We just support any applications with our technology. We have flown 5 different vehicles, let's call them, either electric or with hydrogen fuel cells. We first flew in December 2019 on a 𝗶𝗃. So we converted a radial piston 𝗶𝗃 to be electric seaplane. And that was 5 years ago now. And that was really a much bigger aircraft than anyone ever thought was possible to go and electrify at the time.
I was going to say, even now, I mean, the reciprocating engine, the radial engine on a 𝗶𝗃, what is that output? I mean, that's like 200, 300 horsepower, something?
It's more than that's about 300 and something kilowatts that we replace, and so, and the benefits on that platform that we realised were phenomenal.
Right.
I mean, you take out a radial engine and replace it with something much more slimline and less draggy, you're going to get big performance improvement. But that we see 20 decibels lower in all phases of flight in terms of noise, and that's real world testing on the water noise, which is incredible. We also see huge performance benefit in terms of reduction in power that you need to continue to cruise the vehicle. So we thought we were only going to get 8 minutes out of flight of an 𝗶𝗃. We actually get 34 minutes of flight.
Gosh.
We go from so 𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗁 is our partner on that program. They're the largest seaplane operator in North America. They go from about $300 an hour in avgas to 23 on electric.
Blimey.
So huge benefit for them in terms of noise, in terms of just serving the local community with these things and their impact on the local community, and the economics work. And they can do everything that they need to do with that electric 𝗶𝗃 for the operations of 𝗂𝗃𝗁.
Just dialing back a tad, what sort of, on their operation, what about the recharge time?
So it works for them. There are different charging kind of chargers that you can buy. You can buy very small chargers that are very cheap that take a long time to charge, or you can buy very expensive, very large chargers that are very fast charging, and they use a range of options. And really depending upon what they need to do in their operation at that time. If you're talking, you want to do tours and do 30-minute flight and then have a 30-minute recharge, that requires one level of charger. If you're flying and you're not flying again until the next day, you can use a lot cheaper, a lot smaller charger. So it really depends on what your application requires.
So let's just because we're a vertical lift industry magazine.
Done that too.
You've done that too, which is good news.
Yep.
So let's talk about. I love a 𝗶𝗃. Never flown a de Havilland I didn't like, but let's just think about what you've been doing in the vertical space. I know you had an R44 base, but what was it?
Absolutely, yeah. So on the work there, it's I think really batteries have got to the point now where I think the reason I talk about the 𝗶𝗃 and that first flight 5 years ago is that batteries have improved 2x what they were there. They are twice as power dense as they were 5 years ago. And that really enables and unlocks vertical flight now in a way that we couldn't really consider 5 years ago. And so this week, as part of Verticon, we've actually announced a new engine range, 𝗂𝗿𝗃𝗁𝗄, which is specifically designed for the helicopter industry.
And you can read about it on the Road Hub newsfeed. I have to.
You can. So this is a new 6,000 RPM electric engine, really designed to work well in light single-engine helicopters. And that was really born out of our work that we did on the Robinson 44, where we take out the original piston engine, we replace it with our electric engine. It's at the same speed range as the piston on the 44 into that belt drive. We save 60 kilos, and the engine we replace it with is 2 times as powerful. So we can continue to hover the rotorcraft with 1/2 of the engine lost,
right,
for a lot less weight.
Okay.
And so I think that's really a really powerful thing about, how can you kind of improve something? How can you improve a product? Can you put out a better product than exists today with this new technology?
Yeah.
And so I think that opens up a very interesting space for light single helicopters, which gives you a lot more kind of redundancy built in before the point of auto rotation. So there's a lot that you can do within electric helicopters that maybe I think hadn't really been considered. And it doesn't require reinventing, the whole vehicle and the ecosystem and how it interacts with,
with everything.
Everything. And so we really kind of saw and we showed this. And so we're flying it with our partnerships with 𝗬𝗏𝘃 Bioelectronics. And they were working with Tier 1 engineering to help them modify the aircraft. And so we do that through a range of test flights down in Southern California. We're actually based in Washington. We're in Everett, Washington. So we supported them through that flight test program, which culminated in a point-to-point flight between Coachella and Palm Springs in September. It is hot.
Yeah.
So our first flight was in December in Vancouver, and our helicopter flight, big point-to-point flight was Palm Springs in September. So we've done the temperature range.
Yeah. So you've got right
we can handle it.
You've already got into the hot and high.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe not so. We didn't go so high, but definitely. Yeah. But high. It doesn't impact an electric engine.
No.
We're not air breathing.
No.
And so, it still impacts the rotors, but we don't lose.
You don't
lose power with altitude.
Power loss.
No.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. Power on the ground is the same as power in the air with an electric engine. So there's a lot that you can do that it becomes very interesting, an electric rotorcraft.
Yeah.
And so since then, we continue to partner with 𝗬𝗏. They're now transitioning that to a hydrogen fuel cell. That allows them to get range. They have a very small payload that they want to carry around. And so for them, there's a lot of interest in much greater range, which you can get from hydrogen fuel. The hydrogen fuel cells are quite heavy, so it doesn't give you, a huge amount in terms of payload, but it really does what they need to do it. And so, we're supporting them with their integration program and into flight testing this year.
What about a little bit about the logistics of a lot of discussion, we already touched on the thing of charger options, but what about the logistics question of fueling for hydrogen fuel cell engines?
I think, not to really speak on behalf of 𝗬𝗏, they can speak much more eloquently about this than I can, but for them, they are, so they're transporting organs, right? They're an organ delivery company, and so they are going from one place to a hospital and back. So for them, it isn't a logistics challenge.
It's not a logistics question, it's a defined...
Exactly, so it's a defined path between 2 points. And so for them, it really kind of works, and that's why they're really interested in it, and we continue to support them through that program. And then really look kind of beyond that program at, I think what we've demonstrated is that electric vertical flight in a conventional rotorcraft helicopter is entirely possible today. Again, I think in a way that others hadn't really thought possible. And so we just do it. That's what I say to all of our customers. You want to fly, we'll get you flying. It will do so much more than you think it will do.
Right.
And we've proven that 5 times now, and we'll fly 2 more this year. And so we just go from one to another, and we're pretty agnostic, whether it's battery, whether it's fuel cell, whether it's a rotorcraft, whether it's a CTOL. We are absolutely agnostic. We just deliver the technology to enable our customers to do that.
To turn the power, the prop or the rotor or whatever it happens to be. That's the border. So obviously you've got the new range of helicopter-specific engines that you announced earlier in the week. But so, what are the next steps? What are the next projects? Well, assuming you can talk about them, of course. The coming projects.
Yeah, so really that's a bit less public at this point in time. Obviously we work closely in partnership with 𝗂𝗍𝘗, and Robinson are very supportive of what we're doing. We intend to have an engine on test early next year and start delivering it to customers by mid next year. Again, we're agnostic, and so we're talking to many different people. This is a little bit different for us. Typically, we've developed products for the market. You've got to remember, when we started doing this, really nobody was doing this. And so we were putting products out there and saying, we think this is what the market wants. And we have a history of talking about doing something after we've done it. Not before. This is different for us. So we're actually going out to the market and saying that actually we've had such interest and demand in this kind of range that we're putting it out there ahead of actually having developed it and done it, in order to get market feedback on what kind of power ranges people want and how many engines in the range we need to go and develop. Recognizing that helicopters are a lot more weight sensitive than fixed wings.
Sure.
And so maybe we have to be a bit more discreet in the helicopter range, rather than for our fixed wing applications we have binary 2 engines, right? One is 350 kilowatts and one goes up to 700 kilowatts.
Right.
And so we have like these 2 engines that cover a wide range. With vertical flight being more weight sensitive, maybe we need to actually incorporate more engines within that range, to really kind of
to hone it down and optimize weight against performance.
Exactly. So we've seen a tremendous response to our release, and a lot of, it was born out of demand anyway, and so it kind of gave the confidence to say, okay, yes, there is something here that's going to develop this new engine. And then since, the interest has been incredible. So yeah, I think it was absolutely the right thing to do. And so we have a range of customer interest and can start delivering hardware mid next year. And that's what we really pride ourselves on doing. We've never built something that we haven't flown.
Sure, and that's the acid test, isn't it? I mean, actually going out and flying the thing in a form that it will be used.
Absolutely.
Could either quality performing or whatever, but in the form it will be used. So there you have it. That's one of the reasons why in our review of eVTOLs this year, that top of our particular top 10 was in fact the 𝗂𝗍𝘗 Robinson, and guess who powered by whom? Rotorcraft is what we think is going to be the first past the post in actually delivering missions in a realistic and commercial way. So Riona, again, thanks. Always great to talk to you. I could listen for ages.
I can talk at length as well.
It's just such an exciting project. I remember when we first met in Anaheim last year, I was a little skeptical, and then I talked to you and I thought, oh God, this is really clever stuff. So yeah, thrilled to catch up with you again.
Thank you.
And hear about the project. We look forward to what's coming in the coming years.
Absolutely.
So that's been another podcast from the Road Hub International podcast. We'll be back with you again soon. Till then, fly straight, fly upright, and keep that blue sky up.